here, do the right thing for this country on January 15th, put me in that position to lead this country, and I think I will reach and lead the next generation better than anybody else in this race, and that's how we go back to reviving our identity and sense of national pride in this country. So I'm going to take that America First agenda to the next level, going further than Trump did in sealing our border, moving our troops to our border, ending birthright citizenship for the kids of illegals, shutting down the administrative state by closing entire agencies from the FBI to the Department of Education to the ATF to, you can go straight down the list, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. We're actually going to shut it down. But I believe that I will also unite this country in the process. And that's what I think our country needs now more than ever. So thank you, sir. That's how we're going to do this. Thank you. Thank you. We'll go right here to the gentleman here, and then we'll go right to you after that.
So my question is about the Department of Justice.
The Department of Injustice, yes.
And that's a huge
Yeah.
deal. I mean, it seems like the group is extremely...
Here.
So it seems to me like the group is an extremely immoral set of individuals. The ways that they do things is Machiavellian and has nothing to do with justice. And I think it's something like 90 to 97% of the people that go through it, they end up never seeing the court.
Sure.
So, got a question there. There's a deep connection between them. Let me just take a step back and tell you there's two things I'm going to deliver for this country.
It's not black or white. It's not Democrat or Republican. Two basic rules of the road. There shouldn't be much to ask. One is that the people who we elect to run the government should be the ones who actually run the government. Not the shadow government in the deep state that's running the show today. That's number one. And number two is those people who we do elect, they owe a moral duty to the citizens of this nation, not any other one. So I said I'm going to use our own military to protect our own borders in this country sooner than somebody else's border halfway around the world. Those are the two basic ideas. So then you come to the DOJ and the FBI. These institutions that have basically used to be law enforcement institutions that are now effectively making up the law as they go along. Those aren't the people we elected to run the government. So I think actually adjacent to the DOJ is the real problem. It's the FBI in this country, the failed Bureau of Investigation. That's what I call it, because they're not going after child sex trafficking rings at any level of effectiveness. The U.S. Marshals is doing a better job of that than the FBI. The fentanyl epidemic is spreading like a scourge across this country. Really is a form of quasi-bioterrorism. It's not that people are overdosing on fentanyl alone. It's poisoning. And if you put it in your Big Mac, they wouldn't call it an overdose. They'd call it what it is. It's closer to bioterrorism. That's happening across this country. So I think the right answer isn't to reform that FBI. It's actually to get in there and shut it down. This is a serious proposal. It's not. A lot of people found this frightening. Well, 35,000 employees are at the FBI. 20,000 of them are back office bureaucrats, the ones who work hand in glove with the DOJ. They're going to go home and find honest work in the private sector. The 15,000 who are cops, investigative agents on the front lines, what they're going to do is we're going to move them to the U.S. Marshals or to the DEA, both of which have been far better in fighting the fentanyl epidemic in this country. We're going to move them to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network at the U.S. Treasury to go after the future financial fraudsters, the SBFs and the FTXs of the world that we have missed in going after. And so this will at once end the corruption and improve effectiveness. And as far as the DOJ, every U.S. attorney and assistant U.S. attorney, we're going to turn them over to actually make sure it's not just the figurehead on the top, the Attorney General, but all the way down. That's how we're actually going to have this play out. So thank you, sir. I appreciate that question. And that's the only way. You can't reform this. You have to be willing to shut it down. We'll come back. I promised a young woman here, I think, was asking a question.
Right here. Here's a microphone.
Thank you. So I'm a high school senior at a public school right now, and I have kind of a two-part question. The first is, what do you think the biggest issue public schools are facing, and how would you address that? And then also, what would you tell first-time voters like myself, like public school seniors who are just navigating this world of the electoral process?
Sure. Thank you. I'll go in order then. I think the two issues that our public school system faces is, number one, a crisis of actual achievement in our own students. 30 years ago, we were nearly at, or in many cases, at the top of the world when it came to proficiency in reading, writing, arithmetic, achievement for what a high school senior and even what an 8th grader could achieve. Today, we're not. In many cases, you can measure we're outside the top 10. And I think part of that is a cultural denigration in this country where if you're the best kid in the class, you're taught to apologize for it. If you're the best at anything, you're taught to apologize for it. Hide your excellence. I think that culture of excellence has dissipated from our public school system, has dissipated from our educational system, is dissipated from our culture. I think we've lost merit-based views of even assessing our teachers. I would abolish the teachers' unions, but I think this is actually going to be a good thing for the best teachers. I think the best teachers right now should be being paid more money than they're being paid now, tied to the achievement of our actual students. And so that crisis of achievement is the number one obstacle in our public schools. Hey, little man, good to see you. Which is why we're so far homeschooling these guys. To be honest, to be frank with you, we want to instill that in them. And the second thing is a culture, it's related to the first, is a culture of indoctrination in our public schools. That culture of indoctrination is taking a set of poisonous ideologies foisted onto us by the U.S. Department of Education, telling those local schools you don't get that money unless you adopt these toxic racial and gender ideologies. And I think we have to say no to that, and that's why I've said I'll shut down the Department of Education, return $80 billion back to parents across this country who deserve to choose where they send their kids to school. And that's how we actually keep the public school system competitive. The public schools with school choice perform better in the areas where people can opt out than the public schools where they cannot opt out. So that addresses your first question. The second question is, what does a guy like me tell a young woman like you who's 18 years old? 17. 8, but you know, if you're 18 in time, you can caucus, actually. Yes, exactly. Good. What does my generation owe yours? What does your next president owe your generation? 2 things I'd put at the top of the list. One is you have about $200,000. What's your name? Kathleen. You have about $200,000 of debt on your shoulders that you didn't sign up for in the form of our national debt. And that's not your fault. That's the fault of my generation and the generations that came before you. It's my top job as your next president to make sure you don't grow up burdened by that debt. I'll tell you how I'll fix it. Get the oil and gas that God has blessed this country with underneath our ground. Get it out and sell it. Use that to buy down $8 trillion of our national debt. Keep us out of foreign wars. Iraq and Afghanistan added $7 trillion to our national debt. And then fire 75% of the federal bureaucrats. And our national debt problem is totally under control without touching Social Security, Medicare, or veterans benefits. That's how we get this done. And I owe that to your generation. And the second thing I owe your generation is to make sure, just as I don't want that national debt on your shoulders, you should not have somebody else's gun on your shoulder fighting in somebody else's trench, in somebody else's war. It's my job to keep you out of World War III, keep us out of World War III, and protect our own homeland. And that's what I'll deliver to you as your next president. Thank you. I appreciate it. Sit right here. Oh, we got a mic. Second one. Good.
I'm hard of hearing myself.
This is actually a DOJ question, and I got to spend about 30 seconds to...
Yeah. Okay. I got to spend about 30 seconds to set up. So David Bellin, the famous Iowa attorney, he was on the Warren Commission, and as part of the Warren Commission, he sealed the Des Moines mob and Chicago mob's FBI files under JFK. There was a lot of Iowa corruption in there. If you go back and look at the mob file that was unsealed probably 7 or 8 years ago, we had bribes going to our Iowa Supreme Court. And then David Bellin, he got McCormick, who was one of our justices on the Iowa Supreme Court, to lead the Iowa Supreme Court and used him as a back channel for 20 years until he passed away. And since then, we've had this pipeline of judges going from Bellin McCormick into our state Supreme Court and federal Supreme Court. Like one of the scams that DOJ completely knows about and won't do anything is our private schools in Iowa are having 1% skimmed off the top of all the checks that go to them. Instead of the state treasurer writing a check to the school, it has to go through this Anderson Horowitz Odyssey company for no reason other than to skim money. Carl Wendt was the purchasing agent that did it. I have documents. So here's my question. Should we have term limits for federal judges?
Okay, so here's let me just start with a lower level of term limit, which is lower hanging fruit, because all that would require a constitutional amendment. I like to be very practical. I want term limits for the federal bureaucracy. If I can't work for you, this goes to the DOJ. It's not the federal judge, but at least goes to the DOJ element of this. If I can't work for you as your next president for more than 8 years, which I think is a good thing, neither should any of those federal bureaucrats reporting into me either. 8-year term limits for the bureaucracy instead of civil service protections. That I can deliver for you as your next president without asking Congress for permission or for forgiveness. One thing you should know about me. This is how you know you can take the promises that I'm making seriously. I make the promises that I can keep and that I will keep as your next president, not contingent on somebody else acting. So when I'm telling you we're going to actually fire 75% of the federal bureaucrats, I mean it. When I tell you we're going to shut down the FBI and the Department of Education, I mean it. When I tell you as U.S. Commander-in-Chief, I'm going to use our own troops on our own southern border and our northern border too, I mean it. The question you asked requires a constitutional amendment, and I'm not going to make a promise to you that I can't keep. Now, could I then go this next step of getting term limits for Congress, which is a different type of term limit, but I get asked about that a lot, so I'll answer it. That requires 75% of the people who you're trying to term limit out to vote for that very kind of term limit. But I'm a businessman. I believe in working within the incentives that we're given. And so working with those incentives, what we'll do is we'll tell those congressmen and senators, we'll grandfather you in. So they don't apply to you. But whoever comes after you will have their term limited in the same way. Now, those are wildly popular policies, actually. And this is also how we'll ban insider trading for congressmen. I don't think congressmen should be trading individual stocks. Why? Does that address the interests of the American people? But I've talked to them. None of them are in favor of this. But if you tell them, oh, no, it doesn't apply to you, it only applies to the person who comes after you, then suddenly it's a wildly popular policy. So those are two kinds of term limits that I can... First one, definitely promise you I'm going to deliver. 8-year term limit for most bureaucratic positions. That's a key part of how you keep the lifeblood fresh in the federal government. And the second is I'm almost certain I can deliver for you, even through Congress, term limits for congressmen and U.S. senators. And this is all part of how we revive integrity in our government itself. You've made me curious to look into a lot of those cases, too. So if you want to share that with our campaign afterwards, you'll have my word that I'll take a look at it. So thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. We'll go there, and then we'll go to the back. We'll go quickly on some of these to make sure we get through them, and we can swing across the board.
I support everything you're saying, but my question is, how do you deal with all the blowback? We've seen all the dirty tricks against Trump, all the warfare. How will you deal with that? Because I know it's going to be tough. It's going to be a lot of violence, and so I'm curious about that.
You know, you strike the swamp strikes back. That's the truth. I'm not going to make it as easy for them to do that as Donald Trump did. Right now, they don't have on me what they have on him. I think if you want a general who's going to lead us to victory in a war, just think about it. This isn't about Trump. It isn't about me. It's about this country. If we're in the middle of a war, and you believe with me that we are, I think we are, we're in the war for the future of our country. Pick the commander-in-chief who is not yet wounded in that war. That's what I would say. Now, how are we going to avoid some of those traps? I'm guided by the Constitution. I won't be duped. When they tell me that you need a constitutional amendment to end birthright citizenship. No, you don't. Read the 14th Amendment. Oh, you can't deport all those illegals to their country of origin because there's only 6,000 ICE agents. Well, we have 1 million local law enforcement, and the law already allows ICE to serve their warrants through local law enforcement. Oh, you can't fire those bureaucrats because of civil service protections. Read the law. They only apply to individual firings. They do not apply to mass firings, and mass firings are what I'm bringing to the D.C. bureaucracy. We're going to go fast. I'm not going to run a legislative agenda first. I think many presidents, Trump included, and there's a tradition, is try to lead with your legislative agenda, repeal and replace Obamacare, or every president has their signature legislative item. I'm not doing that. I'm leading with changes in the executive branch. Get some quick victories right out of the gate. Show what that does for growth in this country. Then come back and actually pursue our legislative agenda with a tailwind rather than a headwind. I have a Supreme Court, and I give Trump credit for this. A Supreme Court that agrees with me on everything I'm telling you 6-3. He didn't have that. And I give him great credit for it. So this is how we drive change on the timescales of history, right? Then I'm going to get sued. We'll take it to the Supreme Court, but we'll win.
So I give Trump for giving us a great Supreme Court. It's my job to actually do the right thing, get sued, use that Supreme Court. We codify that into judicial precedent. Then the next president who comes after me won't have his hands tied in the same way. This is how we drive change on the timescales of history. And I come back to this because you all have an important choice to make for this country, not for Iowa alone, for this country on January 15th, on Monday night. And the America First agenda does not belong to Donald Trump, just as it doesn't belong to me. It's not about him and it's not about me. It's about us. It's about we, the people of this country. And by the way, everybody says it's going to be a very cold night on Monday night. Well, I think you all can handle it. George Washington didn't complain about the weather when he crossed the Delaware. And I think we are in a 1776 moment in this country. And if George Washington were in this room right now, Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton and John Jay, if they're in this room right now, what would they tell us? That you still do have another 250 years left. But you're going to have to seize it the same way we did. You're not going to get it just passively. We didn't passively inherit it. Why should you expect to have that as well? That's a choice that we make. And if we're going to be saved, it is going to be because we save ourselves. And that's the spirit with which I'm going to lead this country. Right there to the young woman behind you.
Sorry, I'm just pulling up my question. Okay, so after the shooting in Perry, earlier this past week, you said that the root cause of a lot of these mass shootings is a loss of purpose in our country. But my purpose as a student is to go to school and get an education without the fear of being shot or having to lead walkouts. So as president, what are some proactive policies you would take besides putting cops in schools and metal detectors that are more reactive policies? What are things that you're going to do that will proactively prevent this from happening in the future?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. No kid should have to go to school
For fear of a school shooting. No parent should have to think twice for sending their kids to school for, God forbid, something like what happened in Perry happening. I do believe, I think it's not to be out of hand, skipped over. One armed security guard in school, and especially in large schools, could be a bit of window dressing. 3 armed security guards per school basically brings down the risk by orders of magnitude, in most cases to near zero, that you're going to have another school shooting. And we're not doing it, right? So I think that the fact that we have more security in our shopping malls or in our banks or in the airports, where we literally have an agency called Thousands Standing Around, TSA, right, reflects, I think, a misplaced set of priorities. It's the weirdest thing when people think about it, because, I mean, we've been, I grew up lucky to go on an airplane, commercial or not, but it's been, I don't go on commercial planes now. I'll tell you how it works. It's a joke. In the private planes, you just walk straight on the runway. It could be big jets bigger than a commercial jet. Nobody's even checking your ID, let alone going through a metal detector. It's an illusion. Yet we're bringing that level of resources to fakely protecting our airports when we're not even doing it for our most valuable national asset. That's our kids, right? And so I do believe that 3 armed security guards per school is a big deal. And we're not doing it, and we can do it, and it's a solution I can deliver. They say it costs too much. Costs a tiny fraction of the U.S. Department of Education's $80 billion budget. So when I say I'm going to shut it down, move that money back to the states and to the people, that more than covers any funding gap to make sure that another school shooting never happens again. That's defensive, that's reactive, you could say, but I view it as protective. Now, getting to the root cause, I also don't want to dismiss the importance of the mental health epidemic in this country. It's real. I think we need to bring back actual mental health care, a health care system that pays for mental health care. It doesn't right now, and I made the mistake of calling it a health care system as though we have one. We don't have a health care system. We have a sick care system. We only treat people on the back end when they're sick. When I was that day, I happened to be in Perry that morning. We converted our event. I was wondering what was happening. Did you see ambulances? We knew something significant was. We canceled the event, but we made it a prayer session and an open discussion for people in that community. People came out who otherwise weren't going to come to the event just to speak openly. And the thing that struck me most was actually someone from another state that attended the event who said that there was a teacher in her school district that said they could tell you, hey, this person's at risk of becoming a school shooter later. But it was almost just like a passive. You know who the kids are. Not always, but often you do. Yet we just accept that as a normal cost of doing business without doing a darn thing. We don't have a healthcare system that pays to do anything about it. But in the back end, when somebody gets sick, you'll pay any cost to, be it psychiatric medication, be it all kinds of other intervention. Yes, we have a system that pays for sickness on the back end as opposed to taking care of it on the front end.
Would you be like supportive of because they identified him as possibly a threat, possibly like being able to step in and make sure
Yes.
he has access to a weapon?
Yeah, well, I think that if that's the standard it meets, somebody psychiatrically ill and dangerous people should be removed from their communities. So what I support is bringing back mental health institutions in the United States of America. That's what I actually support. And I think we got to get to the root cause. We closed those mental health institutions because, in part, of pharma industry lobbying. It was convenient for pharma not to have those people in mental health institutions. Bring back those psychiatric institutions that we closed. That's what it actually takes. It's a courageous thing to do. It was controversial when I first started talking about this. I think it's become less controversial over the course of this campaign. And I'll say that as a word about maybe as you have a choice to make. It's easy to be a follower, right? But what you want in a leader, what I would want in a leader, I think what we want in a leader, is somebody who leads not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. And if you take a lot of the positions I've adopted in this campaign, from bringing back psychiatric institutions, including involuntary commitments, which we've gotten rid of in this country, to my position on ending the war in Ukraine, to my view that every high school senior should have to pass the same civics test that every immigrant has to pass in order to become a voting citizen, to my views on the truth of what happened on January 6th and pardoning every peaceful protester that day. At the time when I first shared them, these were outside of the acceptable bounds of what an even Republican candidate could say. I think even by the end of last year or by the start of this one, they've now been, I would say, darn close to the mainstream of what the Republican Party actually stands for. And so if you want somebody who's going to get in there and actually gut the deep state and speak truth to power, then vote for somebody who's going to speak the truth to you. That's what I'm asking you to do, and I think that January 15th is the day where we turn this race upside down. We speak truth to power, disrupt the mainstream media narrative, and I think that Portman and I are confident. We're going to win the Iowa caucus, and when we win the Iowa caucus, I'm going to be your next president. If I'm your next president, we deliver for you everything today, including those 3 armed security guards per school, that I'm telling you that I'm going to deliver you as your next president. Thank you very much. We have time for 2 more questions. We go to this. Go ahead.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to ask this. I hate to put you on the spot, but I'm dying to know, who are you considering to be your VP, and would you consider Donald Trump?
Yeah. So this is like the 7th time that came up in the last couple weeks. This is the 2nd time today, actually. A guy by the name of Billboard Bob. Anybody? I don't know if you guys know him, but you guys know Billboard Bob. He asked me that earlier today at an event. The answer is yes. I would. I don't think he would accept it. I would take him. I don't think the titles matter much. I would take him as my most valued advisor in my first year in the transition in. Let's pick up where he left off. For me, it's not about ego. It's about how do we actually get the thing done. But the person I want in a vice president, the number one role is somebody who can actually be the president of the United States. Most people look for potted plant as the qualification. I actually, the way I built my businesses is you want somebody who's better than you in the ways where you're not actually at your strongest. We're all human beings. And so I'm looking for a partner who's going to cut through that deep state with me. Somebody who's actually going to unsparingly work our way right through that bureaucracy and actually shut it down. And God forbid something happens, somebody who's actually able to lead this country, hopefully even in some ways that are better than I would have. That's what I'm looking for in a vice president. If he was a natural-born citizen, I think Elon Musk would make for a good candidate in that role. I told him as much. But he's not naturally, he's not born in this country. But it's going to have to be somebody who is not going to be a congressman or a senator, I can tell you that. Not somebody who's professionally been a pontificator. Somebody who's actually able to get things done. That's the kind of vice president that I'm looking for. You have my word on that.
Like Barack?
No, not quite yet. That's the pontificator. Exactly. You want a quick question? Then we'll take one more back there, sir, from you, and then we'll give you, and then we'll wrap it. Thank you.
The United States, for a long time, has been giving Israel a blank check to do whatever they want. I mean, they're committing genocide right now, and I've seen many horrible
images and videos of so many mutilated bodies, so many destroyed buildings, and so much death of people that look like me, that talk like me, who have the same faith and culture as me. And so it's kind of disturbing that the United States has that blank check when so many people in America are living in poverty. So many people in America they sleep hungry. So many people in America are homeless. They can't get affordable housing. You don't give us living wages. And you have veterans that are homeless, and you have veterans that are poor. We don't have access to affordable health care. So what is your policies going to be in addressing that?
So let me start with the latter part of your question, which is we do have veterans struggling in this country for lack of basic commitments that we could make in the United States to say that every veteran deserves a 6-week decompression buffer when they come back from a combat role that's paid. That brings down the rate of PTSD by 80%. That veterans shouldn't have to travel 150 miles to get to the nearest VA center because they deserve and should have community-based medical care right where they are. That veterans' benefits and military compensation should not be subject to federal taxation, all of which I'm going to put an end to as the U.S. president. So America First includes all Americans, and especially those who have served the United States of America. And so what I call America Last policy is cutting Social Security, cutting Medicare, cutting veterans' benefits to fork over more money to somewhere like Ukraine, where we've actually sent the $200 billion that doesn't advance our national interests. On your question about Israel, I think I've adopted what I hope is, and I believe is, a principled position on this issue, which is that, first of all, we have to acknowledge fact, and I think we would be remiss to skip, with due respect, an important detail that you left out of your question, which is that what Hamas did to Israel was medieval. It was subhuman. It was wrong. And I think it does reflect, a failure in framing, and I think this comes from a lot of the media too, to say we're going to have a discussion about what's going on while skipping the atrocity that was committed on October 7th. And I refuse to do that. Actually, I kept acknowledging the truth of what happened that day. I also reject, respectfully, the characterization of invocation of the use of the word genocide. Genocide refers to the elimination of a race.
Genocide. It's full genocide.
What's?
It's full genocide. There can't be innocent people.
So I understand the viewpoint. Genocide, just genos refers to a race. Genocide refers to the systematic elimination of a race of people. 20% of Israel's population is Palestinian. That's more than the black or Hispanic population in the United States. And there's arguably not a place on God's green earth where those Palestinians live a better life than the 20% of Israel's population that's actually Palestinian. So I think those are important baseline facts. But against that backdrop, I have been clear that I would not support U.S. intervention in this specific war, because I don't think that advances either the U.S. interest or Israel's interest or anybody else's. Israel has the absolute right and responsibility to defend itself and to defend its own borders without the U.S. intervening specifically in that conflict. So for the rest of the Republican Party that wants to just say, okay, well, what's the right answer to something worth $34 trillion in the hole, keep sending money to Ukraine or the next place, that's not the right answer. And I've actually been taking much criticism from the other direction for adopting that position, but I think that view has aged well, even in the last 3 months, to say that Israel is able to get its job done of defending its own border, and they need to do that. In fact, they failed to do it. But we should stand for, diplomatically as I will, for Israel's right to do so, without the U.S. or the UN or anybody else getting in the way and playing global policeman. That's not our job. But I believe it's a principled position to say that I'm not going to intervene militarily in a conflict where we should not be intervening militarily, but I will stand for our ally diplomatically to defend themselves without trying to play global policeman in constraining them either. And that's the principled position for how I would like to lead in this case. Look, so this will get into something where I don't have terribly original things to say to you, but
Israel did not attack thousands of innocent civilians in Palestine to their death in a way that Hamas actually did on October 7th in Israel.
One century ago, we had the American Indian citizenship back. We gave them all citizenship in numerous balconies for the past 100 years. They need citizenship in Israel.
So here's a simple premise for you, and I think it's just a core premise of my candidacy. It's a really simple point. I'm running for president of the United States. I'm not running for president of Israel. I'm not running for president of Ukraine. I'm not running for president of any other nation other than this one, the United States of America. And so there are scholarly discussions that a lot of people can have about which members of Region A need to be citizens or not of Country B. I am hopefully going to be the president of this country where you're correct. We're struggling with our own
Border crisis right here at home, our own national debt crisis right here at home, our own educational crisis right here at home. We don't have the luxury to try to play and pretend like I'm running for Secretary General of the UN, where what we're missing is a United States president that addresses the grave and existential challenges that we face right here at home in the United States of America. And so, as I said, there's two parts to my candidacy. It's not Democrat or Republican. It's not even black or white. The people we elect to run the government should actually run the government, not the federal bureaucracy that's actually running the show today. And those people who we elect to run the government, including me as your next president, owe a sole moral duty to the citizens of this nation, not any other one. And those are basic ideas of how I'm going to lead this country, and that's what it means to put America first. So thank you for your question. I want to be respectful. Give the last, I promised the two guys, so I'll go super quick. But you and then those the last ones. Thank you. I'm having a lot of fun here. Thank you.
I just want to know how you're going to get the old committee of senators and representatives to work with you.
Yeah. Well, I think that many of them won't initially, which is why I'm mainly focused on the root cause of what's actually the cancer. Most of them are puppets right now. I mean, I took Karthik, who came up here earlier. Is he upstairs now? Where he's running around somewhere. Okay. I took him, when we were in Washington, D.C. one of these weekends during the campaign, I went to Capitol Hill. Felt like we're visiting a museum, actually. It's not where the laws are made, right? Where the laws are made are the drab government buildings where I didn't take him. And so the real threat to our liberty, yeah, there he is. You remember when we went to Washington, D.C.? Did you like Washington, D.C.? Yeah. He liked the nice-looking building. What he didn't know is that's, not really where the laws are made. But the good news is I get to fix that as your next president without asking Congress for permission or for forgiveness. Because Article 2 of the Constitution says the executive power of the United States shall be vested in a president. Not multiple different executive branches, one executive branch. So I'm going to shut down government agencies that shouldn't exist. We will actually gut, for every 4 people that work in that federal bureaucracy, 3 won't be working there by the end of my first term, likely much sooner. That's where my focus is. I get to do this. As your commander-in-chief, I do get to protect our own southern border. And speaking of Israel, if what happened on October 7th can happen in Israel, open your eyes, people. It can happen right here at home in the United States of America. And we have to be able to seal our own borders. I can do that as your next president, at least as it relates to use of our own military. After we demonstrate that actually delivers success in the first year, then I think a lot of those congressmen and senators are going to be coming along because they're going to be very unpopular with their constituents unless they go along with a president who has an agenda that's already delivered a lot of good to this country. So I'm reversing the order that presidents usually go in. Usually they go to Congress, they fail, and they can't get anything done because they've lost all of their political currency. I'm going in reverse. I'm driving change through the executive branch as the president of the executive branch and the leader of the executive branch, then go into Congress, and then we'll have success. And that's how we're going to do it. You get the final word, sir.
Thank you, Vivek. Hey, so first off, I've been following you. I met you for the first time in Johnston. It was like at the Women for Liberty.
Yeah, Moms for Liberty.
Yeah, Moms for Liberty.
Moms for Liberty. Yeah, got some of them right here.
And I was sold that
right
day,
over here, guys.
Several of them. That day, I've listened to your podcast. Most transparent, candidate in my lifetime.
Thank you, man.
So thank you for what you're doing. My question is actually for a friend of mine, so I'm recording this.
Okay.
So he is ex-military. Just a little preface. He told me if I could ask this question. Right?
Sure.
Anyway, so he's not a pro-Ukraine guy, ex-military, DeSantis supporter. Okay. But he said, I think Vivek's an isolationist. And so what he's saying is that he's concerned that you're not going to be proactive and only reactive with the America First agenda. So I just wanted to give you the opportunity to kind of, answer those concerns.
Yeah, no, it's great. So I'll answer this in 2 dimensions. First of all, I think I'm going to be the most proactive president in protecting our own homeland. Yes. I mean, we're actually not being proactive at all today. I'll give you some topics that haven't made it into the mainstream narrative of the presidential race, but actually matter more than some of the things we're talking about. Defending this country against super EMP attacks. Anybody by a show of hands, does that word mean anything to anybody here? EMP? A decent number of you, which I'm glad about. Electromagnetic pulse attacks that we're vulnerable to right now, from North Korea to China to Iran, all of which have the capabilities right now to take out our electric grid. We're not proactively doing a darn thing to protect ourselves against that. If that sounds esoteric, let me tell you, in about 9 months that can take out about half the U.S. population. Insulin to your food, to your cars, to your airplanes aren't going to work if we don't have an electric grid. Cyber attacks, one of the great risks we face, amplified in the era of AI. I pushed the Republican Party, the hosts of the different media organizations, let's talk about AI at the debates. They didn't want to do it. Why? I don't know why. Maybe right now we have a president of the United States, or vice president of the United States, who's the person in charge of AI policy is Kamala Harris. I couldn't think of a greater national security threat than putting Kamala Harris in charge of our AI policy. If you're going to be in charge of AI policy, I would like for you to at least be able to spell AI, and I don't think that's the case of the person who's in charge of it right now. But I'm going to be very proactive. In a way, we've been not only not reactive, we've utterly failed to protect this country. And the second thing is I'm not at all an isolationist. To the contrary, I look through every... I'll make a little observation here, actually. So I wrote a
book, Woke Inc. It was my first book. And the funniest thing started to happen because I was criticizing the diversity, equity, inclusion agenda, because I was criticizing policies that discriminate on the basis of race. The left called me racist during the year that I was promoting that book. And it didn't really bother me. I mean, it's senseless. It doesn't mean anything. I'm calling for ending discrimination on the basis of race. So if somebody calls you racist, it's water off a duck, but it's an interesting observation. I feel like something similar has happened in this Republican race, where when I'm saying it's our job to protect this homeland against threats that our existing establishment has completely failed to appreciate, isolationist has become the new racist in that context. It's a term they use to silence dissent on the merits by affixing a label to it. So I tell your friend, I'm actually the only at least at an earlier point in this race, before everybody else then said it, was the only candidate in this race who said that we would affirmatively protect Taiwan in the event of an invasion of Taiwan because U.S. interests depend on it. The little microchips powering that phone that you're recording this message with, and our modern way of life, these lights or the refrigerator that keep that bottle of water in your hand cold before you're drinking it, that depends on this tiny island nation off the southeast coast of China. Except current U.S. policy is not even to call it an island nation because you can't say nation. Our current U.S. policy is one China policy. Strategic ambiguity of whether we would defend Taiwan. I'm the only person, as of at least October, who said that we would defend Taiwan. Now everybody else is coming along. That's not an isolationist position. It's an America First position. I'm willing to use our own military on our own southern border with Mexico to proactively defend against, I'll call it what it is, an invasion. If you have 3 million Chinese coming on our western border, 3 million Iranians coming on our eastern border, you'd call that what it is, an invasion. 8 million people who are willing to break the law at our own southern border, it's no different. And so I think of myself as a George Washington America First conservative. That's when our America First movement began. 1796, read his farewell address. I agree with it, and I'm proud that I agree with it. That it's the job of the leaders of this country to avoid, as Washington put it, foreign entanglements when they don't advance our interests. But when they do, our allies and our relationships do. I think NATO has likely outlived much of its purpose, but what we really need is stronger alliances with Japan and South Korea and India and Vietnam and Australia to deter the kind of Chinese aggression, because communist China is the real threat we face now, not the USSR. And so I hope you can let your friend know that. And I think that, actually, again, last night we picked up a number of former DeSantis endorsers at this last second coming over as they've come to understand what my actual views are as opposed to the media's distorted distillation of them. And I think that is a problem in our country. It's the mainstream media and their relationship with the super PAC puppet masters. And it's one thing I think Apoorva and I have learned through this whole process. Our politics is broken. A cancer in our politics is the mainstream media and the rise of the super PACs. Every politician anymore is dancing to the tune of their biggest donor. It's like a fact of life. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Every politician is dancing to please their donor. In my case, that biggest donor is me. I don't report to them. I report to you, the citizens of this country, not another one, but the citizens of this country, the United States of America. I frankly would rather lose this election and speak the truth than to win by playing some fake game of political snakes and ladders. My bet is that's the winning strategy. That's not up to me, that's up to you, the people of this country. And so, if you want somebody who's actually going to get in there, gut the deep state, and speak truth to power, vote for the candidate who's going to speak the truth to you. And that's why we're asking you to do your part on January 15th. Earlier I said it's going to be cold. Right now that probably sounds pretty good to many people. But on Monday it may not. But even still, get out there and go for it. Our country, I think our future depends on it. If Karthik is in high school before we get this right, I don't think we have a country left. If the interest payments on our national debt become the largest line item in our federal budget, I don't think we have a country left. That's 5 years from now. People ask me, I got a question I liked earlier, would I take Trump as my vice president? I like that better than somebody asked me earlier today. Well, would you consider running in 2028? That works for me. I don't have to do this at all. It works for us. It doesn't work for this country. I don't think we're going to have a country left if we stay on that current course. And so I am asking all of you to take 30 minutes of your time on January 15th, on Monday evening. Get there at 6:30 p.m., ahead of the 7 p.m. start. And do the right thing for this country. I am asking you for your vote on January 15th. I'm asking you to take a little bit of time in the few days we have to tell 10 people who couldn't be in this home with us tonight, to bring them to. Tell them to open their eyes to the trap we're otherwise walking into. Especially for those good patriots who stand for our America First movement, who have voted for Donald Trump and are about to go in that direction again to say that he was a good president. But they're never going to let him come near the White House, and that we have to, I love the gentleman wearing the shirt right there. It says, "Save Trump, vote Vivek." I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think there's a lot of truth to it, because to save this country, that's why I'm asking for your vote. And so if you all do your part, I promise you, Apurva and I, we will do ours to make sure that our country's best days are actually still ahead of us. To make sure that we pass on a country to our kids where we will tell them and mean it, that you get ahead in this country with your own hard work, your own commitment, your own dedication, and that you know what? You are free to speak your minds at every step of the way. That is the American dream. That is what we are running to. And with your help on Monday night, that is what we will revive to save this great country. Thank you for coming out tonight, guys. God bless you and your families, and may God bless our United States of America. We will not stop until we get this job done. Let's save this country. Thank you for having us, guys. Thank you.
Hey, we're going to do something different, okay? Vivek, I don't even know if you know this.
I have no idea what's next. Yeah.
You guys, we've not done this, so hang tight. You can stay back for just a minute. We're actually going to bring that mainstream media up and do a press gaggle right here in front of you. So you guys can witness
a little different.
This press gaggle. While the press is getting set up for that, guys, please fill out a caucus card, okay? We got them held up right here. Especially if this is your first time caucusing. Your information coming to our campaign allows us to reach out to you so you know where to caucus. We'll be able to provide that information to you. So if you'll just hang on for just a few minutes, we're going to do this press gaggle, and then we're going to do pictures. Please feel free to get pictures afterwards. Come through. Thanks for coming out, guys.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
I think at the front door.
Just tell him. Just tell them.
Okay, and this survey, just please feel free to turn these in after you
Please.
have filled them out.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Can you get rid of some of these windmills and put some nukes in?
Well, you don't get rid of the windmills. Let's stop using our taxpayer money to subsidize them. How about that for a start, right?
Go away that quick.
Yeah, exactly. Who are you with, man? What's up?
Good morning, Britain.
Okay, let's start with that. It's kind of interesting.
I'm just a camera operator.
Okay. Who's your reporter?
Right there.
Good morning, Britain. We start with the old world here. Oh, is that your reporter? We'll start over here. Oh, we'll start with you. Who are you with? Oh, cool. You have a question? That's okay. It's okay. Okay, it's hard to hear. Okay. Hi. Student reporter? Yeah. Let's start with you. Are you a student reporter? Let's start with the student reporter.
Does this crowd make you excited for the caucus?
It does, actually. I think that we have done, probably upwards of 8 events today. We've had some of the greatest enthusiasm we've seen in the campaign. We've seen a lot of the other endorsers come along, even from other campaigns, in the last 48 hours. So I think we're on track for a major surprise here. And I think that the reason we're going to be successful at this Iowa caucus is that the expectations by the mainstream media have been set so low, they've actually done us a favor. Now you're seeing a lot of the grassroots energy come our way. And so I think we're going to shatter those expectations on Monday night, and I think that's going to propel us forward to the next phase of this race. And I'm saying that I'm not excited about that for me or our family. I'm excited about that for our country. Because our country deserves a leader with fresh legs. A leader who can actually take our America First agenda to the next level. And I think once we do that, our country's best days are actually going to be ahead of us so that your generation doesn't have $34 trillion of national debt on your shoulders. So that your generation isn't sent to go die in somebody else's foreign war that doesn't advance our interests. But a country that actually stands for you. And that you grow up in a country that I used to say is the same country I grew up in. I don't hope for that anymore. I hope it is a country, dare I say, even greater than the one that I grew up in. And so that's why I'm going to ask young people across the state. Many of you historically have not come to the Iowa caucus. It's mostly people, many multiples of your age that show up. Change that this time around. It's going to be a cold night. That's okay. You guys can handle it. Bring 2 forms of ID. Bring your government-issued ID driver's license, but if that address isn't your current one, for many people in college it may not be. Bring a utility bill or something else that has your current address as well. Takes a little bit of effort. I appreciate it. You will change this country. It'll be the most important vote that you actually cast, and so that's why I'm asking you to come out that day. Thank you. Do I need this? Okay, that's what I'm asking you to do. 15 minutes of your time to save this country. Young people across this country come out. Nobody's actually representing your generation and the issues that concern you, which I think above all are the national debt and staying out of World War III. And nobody else is going to do that in the way that I am. But you have to take responsibility to make sure that somebody is doing the right thing for your generation. So take that time. Come out early at 6:30 p.m. on Monday night. It's going to be cold. Brave the cold. You can do it. Thomas Jefferson was 33 when he wrote the Declaration of Independence. So it's always been young people that lead these revolutions. Let it be the same on Monday night. And I'm so grateful for all of you who are coming out. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hi. I can't speak to other people's views of the Constitution. I can speak to mine. I'm a constitutionalist. I can actually give you clearer differences from Haley and DeSantis on some recent issues. I have a different view on the First Amendment. I think that it applies to viewpoints that you disagree with. That's the major difference of opinion that I have with both Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley, who have called to disband student groups or ban speech they disagree with, or for government-issued ID to be attached to your social media profile. I reject that. I think that what you actually need in this country is a First Amendment that protects your speech no matter what you believe. And to many conservatives, what I would say, like myself, is that if you start banning speech you disagree with, then pretty soon, if you question a vaccine or its efficacy, you're going to be a vaccine denier or a bioterrorist. You're going to be an insurrectionist if you say J6 political prisoners should be freed. You're going to be a domestic terrorist if you're a concerned parent showing up at a school board meeting. And so that's not the road I should want to go down, that we want to go down as conservatives or as Americans in this country. And so I think my bigger differences are with the two of them, where they've made their positions clear that they're pro-censorship candidates, Nikki Haley in particular. And I do not think that we should want to be a country where you should have to use your government-issued ID to use the internet. That's Orwellian, it's anti-American, and I stand against it. Thank you.
Mr. Ramaswamy, this morning you said, quote, I see a role for Ron DeSantis in the future of our country. Can you expand on that? Do you see a position for DeSantis in or on the administration?
He's relatively young and early in his years, and so what I believe is he has a future, first of all, as a good governor in Florida. He's been a largely good governor in the state of Florida. Could I pick on some things? Of course. But by and large, he has been a good governor in the state of Florida. But I think his next role is going to be continuing to do what the people of Florida elected him to do. There's a reason why Florida had a law that stopped you from running for president or other office while you're governor of Florida. It makes you less effective as a governor of Florida. I think a lot of people in Florida are frustrated by that right now, and I think they're going to be happy to have him back. And so I think it's going to be good for him, good for Florida, and good for this country, because in many ways he set a good example for this country as a governor. I think he's going to continue to do that as the next step. So that's what I believe.
And earlier today, while discussing the amicus brief in Colorado, you said that you did it, quote, because frankly, I don't know if they're going to make the best legal arguments on their own. What legal arguments are you making that you think the Trump...
Well, I want to be fair. I want to be fair and see what amicus brief, what actually comes out. But I would say in some of the prior instances, I've written on the pages of the Wall Street Journal, I'll direct you to, I think, about May of last year, I wrote an op-ed that was quite critical of some of the legal arguments made in the big tech censorship cases vis-a-vis Donald Trump. And so what I argued is that state action in disguise, if it's state action in disguise, the Constitution still applies. But a lot of the arguments that I think have been made in that case were different than what I thought were some of the best legal arguments that could have been made. So based on that, I wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, which actually got that at least in the public sphere. But this time, especially given my role as a presidential candidate, I felt it was only appropriate for me to submit an amicus brief laying out why I believe that it would be unconstitutional, unprecedented, unlawful, and against the interests of this country for the Colorado Supreme Court to be able to remove one man from a ballot, and that's why I did it.
I've got two questions for you.
Sure.
We have a lot of young people here tonight. You've encouraged 17-year-olds to come caucus. How do you reconcile that position with your civic duty voting policy and raising the voting age?
Can I characterize the way I would characterize that policy in a way that's clean for people to understand? I believe that every high school senior should have to pass the same civics test that every immigrant has to pass in order to become a voting citizen of this country. I don't think that's too much to ask. We require it of immigrants. I think people who grow up in this country should know the bare minimums that we ask of immigrants before they come to this country. And if not, at least serve in the military or first responder role as a condition for having skin in the game. I actually think that's actually going to increase civic participation and civic pride and civic interest at a time when it's lacking. And so the goal isn't to create more barriers. The goal is to create more pride and more knowledge in this country. And I think the more knowledgeable people of all generations are, the more actively engaged they're going to be. And I think the less you're going to see of depression and anxiety and other sources of loss of meaning in this country. And I think of a 10-year-old girl an Iowan who came to one of our events, you've probably heard me talk about her on the campaign trail, can pass that civics test at a score of 100 out of 100. I think every high school senior should be able to pass 60% of what basic questions we're asking, like, if you're going to vote for president, what branch of government does the U.S. president lead? I think that's important for people in this country to know. And so I predict it's actually going to increase civic engagement in this country. And I do think that improving civic education should prepare kids in a way that they do know the first thing about their country as well. You had a second question.
Your parents are here, your wife is joining you, she's taken off from work. So just on a personal level, what sacrifices has your family had to make, and what has their reaction been to your case?
Yeah, I'm not asking for sympathy, but our family has made immense sacrifices. The financial sacrifices are the least of them, though significant as well. We've invested close to $30 million of our hard-earned money into this campaign already. My wife has kept her full-time job because she believes that's her duty here in this country. We each believe God put each of us here, all of us here, for a purpose. I have full confidence one of the reasons God put Apurva here was to save the lives of patients who suffer from the aftermath of having had throat cancer, who haven't swallowed food in years, many of whom do, because of the work that she does. She's one of the few people in the country who actually does it, and her patients depend on her. But she's doing this with me anyway because the life of our country depends on it. That's what I believe. I'm running on, on average about 4 hours of sleep for as far as I can remember in the last several weeks, certainly. Kobe Bryant ran on 4 hours of sleep, and he was one of the best NBA players, so I think it's possible to do. But yes, we're making sacrifices because it's our honor, actually, to do it. It's our responsibility to do it. And so we're not asking for sympathy for that, but we do want people to know that we're not in this for convenience. We're not in this because it's going to do something better for our family. We're doing this because this is going to do something better for our country. And we want our kids to grow up in a country where they have that same and live that same American dream that frankly, Apoorv and I each had the chance to live. And I'm confident we can pass that on to our kids, but we're going to do our part as parents to make it happen. Thank you, Shauna.
Heading into New Hampshire, has the strategy at all changed now that Chris Christie has dropped out?
I'm laser focused on Monday, the Iowa caucus. My first reaction to your question is no. I don't think Chris Christie was a relevant presence for my campaign strategy, certainly in this. But I think that right now I'm focused on delivering a surprise relative to expectations for us in Iowa that will give us a momentum boost heading into New Hampshire. And I do think New Hampshire is going to be the bridge to the next phase of this race. Everybody else is not paying attention in Nevada right now, skipping straight over to South Carolina. Nevada actually comes next. And the people who get delegates coming out of Nevada are the people who participate in the caucus. I think it's interesting that nobody has actually pressed Nikki Haley on why the heck she isn't participating in the Nevada caucus. She is going to get literally 0 delegates out of Nevada for a purposeful decision that she made, which I think is really questionable. I think Nevada is actually the underappreciated state that a lot of people aren't paying attention to after Iowa. So after Iowa, I think the real show after New Hampshire then goes to Nevada, not to South Carolina next. And so that is something that we are focused on. I am going to stay in this race till the very end because I've shared my concern. I've been express about it. I think that the system, the establishment, is trying to narrow this to a 2-horse race between Trump and a puppet who they can control. That puppet has a name. Her name is Nikki Haley. They want to eliminate Donald Trump from contention and then trot in their puppet into the White House. And so I have a responsibility to this country to make sure that doesn't happen, to make sure our America First movement goes to the next level. I think I'm the person to lead us there. And so I'll be staying in this race till the very end, but the next major milestone is delivering a massive surprise on the Iowa caucus. And I think that's exactly what we're going to do on Monday, and I feel very good about that. Not a little good. I feel very good about that.
Are there numbers you're looking for? Set expectations for us?
You have where the media's expectations are. Wherever you guys have said it, look at where your polling averages that you're reporting. We will shatter that expectation that's been set for us. Beat it not by a little bit, but by a lot. That's what we're going to do, and I think that propels us forward to the next phase of this race. I think that one way you could think about it is that it's not your fault, but your network used artificial criteria, and I think they were totally artificial and engineered, and it was like beyond bizarre and weird, the contortions that CNN went through for cherry-picking which polls they did or didn't want to do to engineer what they had last night, which wasn't, I think, all that productive anyway compared to what we did in the Tim Pool podcast that we hosted. But I am sure that CNN will eat their words in saying that they should have purposefully gone out of their words to disqualify me from last night, when we will shatter the expectations that they're trying to foist onto the public. The people in Iowa are not buying it. They're coming out to the caucus. They're going to shock the system. And for me, that's just the first step all the way through going the distance, winning the general election in a landslide, and being the next president. And so inadvertently, I think they will have actually done a favor for us by setting modest expectations that we are going to over-deliver by a margin. And I'll see you on Monday night what we do. Thank you. We're done for tonight. We're done for tonight. I'm not going to react based on it's real time today. I've been back-to-back to events before I come here. But I do think that my rule of thumb is you need to figure out who actually hit you. And whoever hits us, that group, we are legitimate in hitting them back 10 times harder. That's what I've said. That's how I'm going to lead this country. Now, not some chain of proxy warfare that leads to 10 strings of attachment that end in starting wars that didn't involve the country that actually hit us. But if there's a specific group that hit us, we will always hit you back 10 times harder. That's how I'm going to lead this country. It's what I've said, and I'm going to keep my word when I'm the U.S. president as well. We have a lot of internal data that gives us a good amount of confidence of what's coming on Monday night. We are going to shatter the expectations that your organizations have set, and I believe you've done us a great favor because that's going to give us a boost heading into New Hampshire. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to wrap this up and we're going to continue tomorrow, and I'm a big believer in being tethered to hard fact, so I'm happy to respond to these questions tomorrow.
Are you going to be on the road tomorrow? Nikki Haley just canceled her event.
Did she? We're on the road all day. Why did she cancel her events?
The weather. She said it's life-threatening conditions, so she canceled all her events and she's going to do television.
Look, if we can physically get to the places we're going to go, we're going to physically get to the places we're going to go. And I look forward to meeting Iowans across the state tomorrow. So if it's physically possible for us to get to our events tomorrow, we're going to get to our events. And our current plan is all of our events are intact. And I think there's no substitute for meeting Iowans in person. That's what we're going to be doing. Thank you.
We're going to do a photo line right over here.
Thank you.
Okay, if you guys want photos, please feel free to come through here. Let's maybe go from right to left so you can exit out. So if we can start right over here, yep. And we'll just come through, make sure your camera is ready to go. So line up over here, and we'll funnel through out to the exit. Thank you, guys.
Hey, yeah, come down. Hey.
That was excellent.
Thank you. I appreciate it. What's your name, sir?
Frank.
I'd appreciate your support on Monday night.
I'll do that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Hey.
Oh, thank you.
Good to see you. How you doing?
Hi. You did change my mind. It was
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
I'm glad
that.
I came.
I'm glad you came
and I'm
too.
glad you came.
Thank you. Well, I hope you support us on Monday night and spread the message.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. It means a lot. Thank you.
That's my wife.
Thank you. Thank you.
You had a
for
nice
being here.
conversation with your mom. Good luck to you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
It is going to be a hard one.
We're gonna appreciate your support, and I think we're gonna do this. I think we're
God
gonna do it
willing.
with your help. We will. God willing, we will. Thank you. Hi. Hey, Terry. Good to see you. How you doing?
Hey, so we were in Cedar Rapids today. I was going to tell you.
Oh, you
so
were.
my dad was recruiting. He lives in Cedar Rapids. I'm like, if you come,
Yeah.
if I come to Cedar Rapids, will you go? So he came. He sat there. And he texted me on the way home, and he's like, I'm going to caucus.
Oh, awesome. Tell your dad I appreciate it. Bring him along for us. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank
thanks
you.
for
I
everything
appreciate
you
you
do.
bringing
We
everybody.
may not
Thank
see
you for everything you're
again,
doing.
Because, I was gone, but
Yeah,
thank you.
I appreciate it. We're going to be back for the general.
Awesome.
I got to win Iowa in the general election, too.
Awesome. I brought
That's
my friend, and he was
Oh, hey.
excited, so.
How you doing, man? What's your name?
Russ.
Russ, thank you for being here, man. Want a picture?
Thank you so much. I'm very impressed. I was undecided, but not
Thank you.
anymore.
Thank you, man. Spread that message. We're going to do
I
this.
will do.
You're precinct captain yet?
Thank you.
No.
Oh, great.
let's get you on
Well,
board.
one by
I'll
one,
be
one
there
step by
Monday.
step. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
okay.
too.
You want to take a picture?
Thank you, too.
All right. Hey, thanks for everything.
Thanks for everything you're
Thank
doing.
you so much.
Thank you.
That's my
I
husband.
appreciate it. I figured. Yeah, thank you. It's nice. We've appreciated Terry so much, and I know what you guys are all in for this as well, and with the school board race and everything, we're so proud of you. And so keep it up. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Terry. Thank you. Hey.
I promise to fight.
Oh, yeah,
Okay?
absolutely. We will not stop till we get the
Because
job done.
I think there's going to be a lot of opposition on the street.
Absolutely.
That's
Well,
the things that really work.
I got a spine of steel. I didn't get to where I am by having thin
My
skin.
first wife was from India.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
I guess
I
you
got
know a
it.
little something about my parents as well. Thank you, man. We will not stop till we're done. I want you, but I need you to caucus for us on Monday night.
I will be there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It means a lot,
Appreciate
man.
your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you. Hey, buddy. I missed you today. I think she's over there. All right.
All right, we have a question.
Hey.
So is it true at Yale, to get called on, you would go like this?
No.
No?
Yeah.
Oh.
I wish it were.
That's pretty cool.
I wish
That's
it
a
were.
cool
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I mean, I would tell you if it were. It sounds
Yeah.
like a good idea. but-
That's what we've been doing
yeah.
in the last
Yeah.
yeah. So my name's
I appreciate it.
Weston. We would
No,
do
no,
this.
no. But what I would say is, I do like a V now for Vivek. He's
Oh,
good.
I love that.
This is right here. Can I take a picture with this? Let's do this. There. That part's true.
Yeah.
That's true for this. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey,
Thank you,
we've
guys.
been with you since late April.
I appreciate that, man.
It's
Thank
awesome,
you.
man. Yeah.
Monday night. I know it's cold. Come out and bring,
I'm there.
bring truckloads
Yeah.
out with you.
Great to hear you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thank you, buddy. Proud of you. Hey. How you
Can I
doing,
get a
buddy?
picture with you?
Yes, let's do it.
All right.
go.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Seeing you again.
Hey.
Good seeing you again.
Good to see you, man. Thank you for being back.
Thank you for being here. And
Welcome. Thanks for
Good
coming.
to see you, man. Thank you. Thank you for being
really
here.
appreciate you taking the time.
I think we're going to do this in a
I
big way. With your help, we
do,
will.
and I really appreciate it, and I am planning on caucusing for you guys
Thank you, man.
on Monday. Thank you
I
very
appreciate it,
much.
man. Thank you. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
You brought a friend.
No, I was saying, yeah, he's been following you guys for a while. He's much more avid in the politics. He knows more than I do, but we really appreciate you guys taking time and coming out and speaking again at all these events.
Thank you.
Is there more? Are you going to be walking around a little bit after? So you guys heading out, right?
Depends on the time. I think we're probably heading out because we got an extra long drive tomorrow with the snow.
You got a long day.
So yeah,
So get
I
home
appreciate
safe.
it, man. Thank you. Thanks a lot,
Good luck
guys.
on Monday.
I appreciate it. With your help, we're going to do it. Thank you, man. Hey, how are you? What's your name?
Amazing, Mukesh.
Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too.
Thank you for being
I'll
here.
give you a hug.
Thank you, brother.
You
Thank
are amazing.
Thank you so
Many
much.
of your
I appreciate
answers,
it.
I
Thank
really
you.
love them.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Love your support on Monday.
Absolutely.
And bring as many people.
I will.
Makes a big difference to us.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. Long day. Hey.
Hi Vivek, how are
Good
you?
to see you. How are you?
See you. You are going to create tsunami.
Yeah, we are.
Vivek
That's right.
tsunami.
Ramaswamy tsunami.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come out on Monday night.
Sure.
We're counting on you. Thank you, guys. Hey, how are you?
Very nice, very nice. I'm really impressed the way you speak.
Thank you. Thank you for
That's
being here,
the
guys.
way you stand
Thank
on.
you for being here, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. It means a lot. Thank you. Thank you. All the
Thank
best,
you.
and
Very good, very
we'd love your support on Monday night.
Thank you.
Monday night.
Thank
You come out Monday night?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'm coming
Thank you.
tomorrow also.
Oh,
I'll
awesome.
see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, absolutely. We're coming from the western part.
First word, faith and family.
Faith and family. That's what it's all about. Thank you. Faith and family. Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
I can call you for one more Gurudwara Sunday.
Oh, we would love that. Purva, he has one more Gurudwara maybe on
One more
Sunday.
Gurudwara Sunday is okay.
Just tell our team of the schedule.
You know, Kimberly through.
Karthik can text
Kimberly,
you. Is okay?
Kimberly,
Your phone.
can you talk to them about actually potentially a Sunday commitment they're asking about? Another Gurudwara. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm in.
Thank you.
If I
Thank
don't
you.
have
If she's
to
able
make
to, that'd be
I'm
good.
100% in.
That'd be good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, it's good to see you, man. How are you?
Good.
Hi, good to see you guys.
Nice
Thank
to
you for
meet
being
you.
here, guys.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'd love your support on Monday night.
No, yeah, I'm actually signed up as a precinct captain.
Oh, awesome.
Or whatever it's
Are you
called.
18 though?
I'm 21.
Oh, you're
Actually.
21. Yeah, you can do it.
Work
So
on
you're
college.
definitely in there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Both of them going with me tomorrow night.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you,
We-
guys. I appreciate
we
that.
really
It means a
support-
lot to me. Thank
we really
you. Thank
support
you.
what you believe, and I also heard about your own personal habits, staying away from alcohol, the fact that you follow Hinduism, all of that. I think that's very,
Thank you.
very, very good.
You're vegetarian.
Yeah, all of that. I think that sticking to your principles and all of that, I really respect that.
Thank you, man.
And I like how you're enforcing that in the rest of the nation. I think that's a very good thing. What you're doing.
Yeah,
Seriously.
we're not forcing anything on it. We're
Yeah.
inspiring.
Yeah, inspiring,
people
I mean, yeah, of course.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
We were
that. Thank you.
talking Because I'm a Purva, my brother is Akash, and my dad is Ashutosh.
Ah,
All the A names.
it's good to see you. Thank you for everything you guys are doing. We appreciate it. Spread the message and bring them out. Thank
I
you.
really, really respect it.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Great speaker. We love
Thank
hearing
you so
you.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for being here, guys.
If we
Thank
can
you.
have a picture with
We
you.
love it.
Do you want to stand on the other side? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate that. Thank
We
you very
should
much.
have
So nice to meet you in person. Yeah, I like your ideas about deep state.
Yeah, that's the deep state is real. We have to shut it down. It's absolutely real. We need your support on Monday. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We love your support. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey guys, how are you?
Okay. Her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Waiting for you even, and she working.
Be careful. Be careful.
She working wherever I stay in hotel.
Oh, nice.
And I bring her here.
Hey man, how's it going? It's good to see you.
He adores you.
Thank you, man. It's good to meet you, brother. Thank you. Is he in Iowa too?
He is in Davenport.
Davenport. Awesome. Well, come out, bring him out on Monday night, and we're going to do this. That's kind of you. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here too. Yes, get a picture. Thank you. Thank you.
Here.
There. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
the best, and
Thank
love
you.
your support on Monday night. Thank you. Tell your boyfriend too. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, good to see you. How you doing? Good to see you.
Hey, real quick.
I feel like I just saw you.
You did. We were
Earlier
in
today?
Cedar Rapids.
You were in Cedar Rapids. Okay.
Terry's
yeah.
parents.
Terry's,
Yeah.
you were there too. Okay. I
Yeah,
feel like was I just saw you there.
Jill.
Jill, good
Nice
to
to
see
meet
you.
you. I came in a Trump supporter, but I'm switching.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I would be honored. I'm honored to have your support, and we're doing it for the country.
Yes.
So I appreciate that. That means thank you for bringing her. Can we get a picture?
Yes.
That's good.
You want just one? Can we do one and then?
Thank you. Come on in. Thank you.
And then one with just you.
Too bad we couldn't.
Yeah.
We couldn't stay. We ran out of time there, but hopefully that was a good event.
It was great.
Okay, good.
It was great.
It was good. Yeah, awesome.
It was good.
Awesome.
We were like,
It's good to have Candace too.
Kind of FOMO. We're like, you're gone on Monday.
Oh
Like,
no!
we have to get to all the events
Thank
we
you. I
can.
appreciate that. Thank you. We'll come back. We'll come back for the general.
Yes, come back.
We'll come back for the general. We will. Absolutely. It's good to see you, man.
Corva, that you are. It's hard to eat vegetarian in Iowa.
Yeah,
But
it's
you
not
said you
as
do
hard
a
as you
lot
make it up. I'm not eating a ton of food recently. I'm just like
Just on the go.
Yeah, we're just on the go. So any food is good.
To that point, I've been talking with Trisha with your marketing team.
Yeah.
She's trying to hook us up to get you on my podcast.
Okay.
But I know you're.
Can
totally
Apurva do it?
So busy.
Can Apurva do it?
She could. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. If she.
Okay. So
They
let's
said
see if we can fit it in.
They
Come
said
on in.
They said the.
I like your shirt, man. Let me get a picture with him with the shirt, actually. For Gavin, for us. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Who are you with? Reuters? I like. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks. Tell your friend for me, okay? I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
See you again. I was in Perry with you.
In Perry, you were there.
Much
I was just going
different
to ask where I
experience
saw
today,
you.
but,
Yeah,
yeah.
thank you. Thank you. It was a somber mood in the morning. What's your name?
Nate.
Nate.
Good to meet you.
This is Apurva. This gentleman was with me in Perry that morning.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Much different experience, but I got to see you. And
Thank you for
much
coming
different-
again.
Different light. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Humbling experience.
I hope it was appropriate the way we handled that.
Oh,
morning.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. You know, we
wanted to be
didn't go up there
respectful.
that morning to expect that, but I think it was handled
okay.
very well.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and I got a 17-year-old that I get to bring to caucus with me on Monday.
Oh,
and-
awesome.
Yeah.
Who can caucus
For you.
too?
For you,
Awesome.
and yep, absolutely.
Appreciate
Turns
that.
18 in February.
Love your support on Monday.
Best of luck
Thank
this
you.
year, Ron. Thank
Thank
you
you.
guys so much for what you're
Appreciate
doing.
it. Thank you.
Throw my coat down.
It's good to see you, man. I love the
Good
shirt.
to see you.
Freedom.
Thank you.
That's what it's all about.
Wife made it.
Oh, nice.
Don't want to pay for Under Armour.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Brother. Awesome.
Thank
man. I love your support on Monday.
I'm captain.
Oh,
Love
awesome.
it.
man.
Thank
Bring
you.
it. We're gonna do
Fishing
this.
captain.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Hey, good
Thank
to
you
see
so much for
Thank
everything
you, man.
you've done.
I appreciate that. Thank you for what you're doing.
Yes, hey, as a young entrepreneur, I really appreciate you keeping the American dream alive and
We-
really reviving.
And pass it on to the next
reviving
generation,
it.
your generation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I will say, I want to ask for your support on Monday night.
Oh, I'll be there.
Thank
I'm
you.
telling-
Spread the
I've
message.
been following you
And
since.
bring 'em big.
Jordan Peterson, bringing all my friends.
Bring
to my
'em big.
camp.
Absolutely,
Thank you
man.
guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
great night.
Thank you.
I was working at the headquarters.
Hey,
today.
good to see you, man.
Guess who I saw?
Who'd you see?
Your neighbor, Nan.
Oh, you did.
Yeah,
Amazing.
She's the best.
I didn't know how many conservative pundits have ESG. You guys say your convictions while you're in this race, and they say he's running for vice president or secretary of all. I'm like, can somebody say what they mean? And they're
Yeah.
so used to the analysis. You know?
Yeah,
They
interesting.
do this, they go here, they say this. And
Who's it? You mean voters out there?
No, just like good conservative voices, like Ben Shapiro.
Oh,
this
yeah,
and that.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
A lot of them, though.
Candace
like,
Owens was with me. She knows what I'm running for.
like
Her
rather
colleague.
than speculate, they say it confidently. I'm like, just take somebody at their word.
Yeah,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? Like,
Exactly.
that's what's refreshing.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Keep it up, and we're going to do this, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, good to see you, man.
See you.
Good to see you guys. Thank you for being here, guys.
I don't think we have. We met
push-ups, so there's so many people in
There's
line.
not, it's a little hot in here.
Next time I see you.
Yes. It's good to see you, brother.
Get some sleep tonight.
Thank you, man. We're going
Yeah.
to try. We're going to be honest. What's your name?
Yeah, Aiden.
Aiden? We want you to support Monday night, guys.
We'll be there.
Thank
Yep.
you,
Thank you,
guys.
brothers. I appreciate it. Hey, good to see you. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you for being here, man.
Yes.
Let's do this on Monday night. We're going to do this.
I have a 2-year-old.
Oh, you do.
We're going to do this on Monday.
Okay.
Make it
Yes, we
happen,
are.
guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you so
appreciate
much.
it. Thank
I
you.
love for coming
Thank
out.
you,
It's
and
really
thank you. I love your
appreciate
spirit.
It's pretty
Spread it.
cold out there, but
Bring 'em
too
out.
cold for Nikki Haley, not
Yeah,
too
no,
cold for
exactly. Not too far for our supporters. Bring them out. That's what we're going to do. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you.
Hey, long time
Thank
no
you,
see.
man. How are you? How you
Best of
doing?
luck. Best of luck.
Oh, is that right? Thank you.
Flowers, neighbors.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
We love your
Appreciate
support
it.
Monday night.
Thank you. Of
Thank
course.
you, guys.
See
Thank
guys
you.
later.
Thank you.
Take
Hi.
This is cheating.
Oh, okay, that's all right. That's all right. Come on in,
We
guys.
didn't have a picture
Come on in.
together.
Come on in.
Oh,
Yeah,
amazing.
absolutely, guys.
All right,
Absolutely.
yeah, got the choreography.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Monday night.
We had a nice conversation with your mom.
Amazing. Well, Monday night,
She's
we need your
also
support.
believing in God. She said, whatever God wants will happen. And
Yes.
we believe in that too.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
He is the biggest.
But we,
Whatever His will,
but he
we will
needs
follow.
us to do the things here on earth.
Yes.
We have to do our job
Yes.
as well. So,
I wish you all the best.
thank you. Thank you. With your help,
Okay.
Monday night. Thank you. Hi.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Salmon.
Oh, you do?
Wanna come?
Wanna come?
All the best.
Wanna come?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, my son Gayatri. Yes.
So nice.
Good to see you, my man. Thank you. Thank you. We love your support Monday night.
Yep.
Thank you. You
Hey.
come out on Monday night,
Thank you
man.
so much.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Hey.
Hey. Good to see you, man.
My man's passionate about ranked choice voting. We
Oh,
have to
you
look
are?
into
Oh,
it.
good. Okay, I'll take a look. I mean, I know about it. But right now, we got to focus on the system we have and winning through the system.
Yeah,
I'd love your support on Monday night.
All right, thank you.
Come on out.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
I
good to
appreciate
meet
it. Thank you. Hey, good to see you, man.
Hi guys, nice to meet you.
My girlfriend Emily. We're
Emily,
from
good to
Arizona.
see you.
I'm a truck driver.
Oh, wow.
Driving
One of
around.
my truckers,
Hey,
man.
stay safe right now. I love the
Thank
sticker.
you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think we're going to rock and
Nice
roll.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Oh, got a few more? A few more? Okay.
You're up.
Hey.
All right.
It's good to see you.
Hi,
Good to see you.
guys. Oh, you need to.
Thank you for being here, ladies. Yep. We love your support on Monday night.
All right, they're both 17, going to be turning 18
Amazing.
soon.
Which means you can do it. You can
Yeah.
you can absolutely do it.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
Do you know what a 0.5 is?
A 0.5?
Yeah, it's just
No.
like a wide angle, like a selfie, basically.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Can we take a
Okay,
selfie?
we take a
Yeah,
photo.
sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it,
Yeah.
guys.
Can I ask a quick question?
So, yep, no
Okay, I'm
respect.
so sorry
That's
to
okay.
hold the line, but, so the young voter is incredibly important to you.
Yes.
But I am also curious about your civic duty voting
Yes.
stance, and why is that?
So my basic point is every high school senior who graduates from high school should have to pass the same civics test that an immigrant should. That's where I'm starting. So the mechanics of how you implement it, forget the plumbing. I mean, the proposal requires a constitutional amendment. Constitutional amendment really isn't going to happen. But what can happen is using the shadow of that, basic laws at the state level that just revive civic education and say we want our high school seniors to know the same thing about the country, the same minimums that an immigrant has to know to become a voting citizen. And I think that's going to increase civic engagement and pride and even a sense of purpose, I hope, that's missing in pride in our country. So that's where I'm coming from. Exactly. That's where I'm coming from.
Would you implement that? Like, could we have the option to take it in school?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. Just like go to school, we take it.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's
In fact, the vision is to weave it into 12th grade, kind of make it part of the graduation from high school.
Currently in like AP US government.
Yes. Oh, you should.
You guys know way more.
How many branches of government are there? What branch of government does the U.S. president lead?
Executive.
Okay, so those are two of the questions of the 100 on the civics test, and 60% is a passing score. You know, but I think that those basics we deserve to know. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
Awesome.
And come out on Monday. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Wonderful.
It's good to see you. Thank you.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
meet
I
you.
appreciate
Your
it.
time. I
Thank you, man.
appreciate it very much.
Thank you guys for being here. Oh my gosh. Thank you for being here, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Deb would come down every single week.
Amazing.
And pray with me in my office.
Is that right? Oh, that's
Every
kind.
single week.
That's the way to go.
It's
been
a while. I feel like we've met before. Good to see you again.
Good to see you guys. Thank you for being here, guys. Okay.
Tell me when you're done.
We're ready.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Wait. I just want. Okay.
Okay.
They haven't been to a political
Okay, got it. Amazing, guys.
Oh, wow.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey,
We'll send the message and come on out on
Oh
Monday night.
yeah, we'll do. And as a reinforcement to what you're saying to the high schools, okay, I grew up before the medication thing kicked in, and I grew up in a farm community in Iowa where half the pickup trucks all fall where it had rifles in the back
Yeah.
window, shotguns. We didn't have any school shootings.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You know,
It's a mental health epidemic.
It is a mental health issue.
Yep,
It isn't the
absolutely.
guns.
We have
And-
firm conviction
yeah,
of that,
right
sir.
on, right on, brother. But
We're going to stand for it.
Yeah.
For your
Appreciate
support
your
on Monday
time.
night.
Yep,
Thank you,
will
guys.
do. Yeah.
Thank
Very
you.
nice.
Thank you so
I
much.
feel like I know you because I watch your video. My name's Ilsa.
Yes, sir.
And I just
Where do you
wanna
live?
say- In Des Moines.
Nice.
But I'm Latvian descent.
Okay.
And just, you were talking about NATO. I firmly believe NATO is corrupt.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with all that we're doing for
NATO
Ukraine.
expansionism is a disaster.
But here's what because Latvia is half the size of Iowa,
Yeah.
then the people there they're thinking Biden and they're thinking Democrats. But if you could come up with an alternative way that, like, to be a defense for the Baltic nations
Yeah.
in case there was
NATO is not the right way to go about this.
So if you are able to articulate, you articulate really well. I am going to vote for President Trump, but I think.
Well, can I ask you
Yes.
a question?
Yes.
You're voting for President Trump because you care about the movement that he represents, right?
Yes.
And your allegiance is to the country.
Oh yes.
To this country, not another one. This country.
Yes. Well,
So-
to actually
to God.
To God.
And we're one nation under God. So as
Yes.
citizens, we vote.
Yes.
All I'll say is this: they're leading us into a trap.
I'm sorry.
They're leading us into a trap.
No,
I really believe
love
this.
that you're saying all
It's
that
the
you're
truth.
saying. Yeah.
And I think if you want to save Trump, that guy wore a shirt made to that effect. Save Trump and save this country.
Yeah.
The only person who can do that is me.
And you know what? I hear you, and I will pray.
Please do. That's all I'll ask. Pray on that.
Pray protection for you guys, because you're blasting full throttle. I appreciate it.
Can I ask you one question? Just from what I've said tonight.
Yes.
Open your heart and pray for what's the right choice for our country.
Yes,
and
I
whatever you feel is the right decision in your heart for the country.
Yes.
Please make that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you for just blazing.
Thank you.
So, a picture.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll take this last
Thank
one with
you.
these folks.
God
Thank you.
bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Hey, good to see you. How are you? Good to see you. How you doing, man?
I didn't think you were legit when you first came on.
That's fair.
I was skeptical.
I mean, anybody new, you should be skeptical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and you're legit. Like, I'm 100% on board.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for both of you for having the courage to do this. Like, America needs this. America
Thank you,
needs
man.
you. And what I see,
We're doing this because we believe that.
yeah, you know, absolutely. And I see, you know, I'm a huge Trump fan too. But what I see in the both of you offer, you pull in all generations, young and old.
Yeah.
I mean, the young kids, like high school
It's awesome.
kids, they're seeing this, and
Yeah.
that's, you know, instead of the indoctrination. Despite all the indoctrination, you're shining.
Thank you, man.
You're a beacon. Like, we need you.
Thank you.
And not
We're-
only that,
we're
the
gonna do our
world is
part.
watching.
Thank you.
The world is watching.
The world is watching, and what hope does the rest of the world have if the shining city on a hill doesn't shine?
Absolutely.
So let's take a
Not
look.
only going to vote for you, if you need me in any capacity,
Okay.
I sign up to be your
Captain?
caucus captain.
Oh, awesome.
Captain,
Okay, that's
so-
big.
Yeah,
Jake,
I'm
I want you.
honored to do that, so.
I'll tell you what would be useful.
Yeah.
Is the people who maybe were where you were 6 months ago.
Yep.
In the next 72 hours, bring them in rapid fashion in our direction. And if you could invest some of your time to make phone calls, individual emails, explain to those people, because they have to believe it in their heart. The people who are voting for us aren't doing it out of rote motion. The other professional kind of governor types might get that.
Yep.
The people who are voting for us are voting from a place of conviction, and that's what we want.
It is.
So if you can help some of those same people reach that same place of conviction, including good patriots, MAGA movement members.
Oh, yeah.
To understand why we're in this, to bring them along on Monday.
Yep.
That's what I would appreciate.
Yeah, and so I mean, even if Trump got in, he's got one term.
Yeah.
You've got a future.
But I would say that
For the party.
I'm worried about the next 6 months.
Oh, yes.
I think they're going to eliminate it one way or another.
I do too.
That's what I believe.
I do. I hate
So,
to think about that, yeah,
but, no, but we have to think for this country.
yeah, absolutely.
We don't want to look back 12 months from now and say, oh, are we going to be shocked by what happens, God forbid? Or are we going to say we should have seen that coming?
Yeah.
That's what I truly believe. And so I think it's important that other Trump supporters understand that when they're making their choice. And so if you can make that clear that we're taking that agenda forward, respecting his legacy, I'm going to take him as my top advisor.
Yep.
But we have a country to save.
Yes.
Not historical injustice to litigate vis-a-vis him, because I think people think that, how can I betray him? It's not betraying him. It's standing for the country. In fact, I think the best chance of saving Donald Trump is to vote for me.
Yeah,
that's what I believe.
agree 100%.
Yeah. So
Nice to
thank
meet you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for
God
being
bless
here,
you
guys.
so much.
Thank you much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We're going to
Yeah.
do a
Okay.
redo.
Okay.
We have to rethink.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I so appreciate you.
Can we get a picture with
Yeah,
that?
let's do it. Let's do it. And we'll probably roll it after this one. Yeah, we're going to get some rest. Get one tomorrow morning. Early morning.
Oh yeah, but we're due. That is so crazy.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, man. Good event. Thank you. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's do this.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
so
much.
much.
We would love to
I love listening
have
to
your
you.
help in the coming days. Let's do this.
Yes.
Thank you. Means a lot to me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank
We're going to
you
do
so
our part.
much Thank you so much just for putting yourself out there to run.
Oh,
It is
we're just at the
consuming.
beginning. We're going to go the distance.
It's
That's what we're
consuming.
doing. We can handle that. What we need is actually get there to do the job. So thank you. I appreciate it. What's up? I mean, look, I love you guys. You guys are following us, and I love you guys because that means you're sidestepping the mainstream media and not buying up whatever narrative is being force-fed. You can't swallow what you're force-fed. Get the facts independently. Christy had a hot mic situation. My mic is basically always hot, so I'm going to tell you what I think. And you deserve to see who we are and what we stand for. And if that's what you want, please vote for us and tell other people here in Iowa to do it. If you know somebody in Iowa, call them up. Tell them to come out on Monday night. We're going to deliver a shock. We're stopping at nothing. My voice is almost out. We've done 8 events today, maybe 9, how many ever it was. Everybody else has canceled their events tomorrow. We're braving it. It's going to take twice as long to drive, so I'm waking up at 6. We're stopping at nothing. Do your part. We're going to do ours. Let's keep doing it. And if you like the comments, I mean, this guy Gavin is dominating in this video streams. He puts in a lot of hard work, too, so if this is useful, just say it in the comments, and we're going to keep doing as much as we can. Thanks, guys. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All the way from Michigan to